Guys, it is Aoife from Fred Died Laughing, and I'm here with my weekly wrap up. So just to start off, I know I had a good few videos going out this week, so I do apologise for having more than normal. Next week I'm just going to put out one video during the week just to kind of even things up a bit, just so I'm not bombarding everyone with videos. There were just some things that I just really wanted to have up during the week, and there were other timely things, so that's how that all went. But obviously it was the Biannual Bibliothon this week, so I was partaking in that, and I got 4 books finished during that time, and I'm going to tell you all about all the books that I read now. So the first book that I read was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. As everyone knows, this is John Green's latest novel. It is contemporary, and it is about a girl called Asa who suffers from mental illness. She has OCD and a lot of anxiety issues, and she is kind of dealing with all of this, and at the same time she is investigating the disappearance of a billionaire in her neighbourhood, and she actually knows the billionaire's son, so she kind of gets back into contact with the son, and she's just kind of really interested in trying to figure out where this guy is. And there's also a reward if someone can find him, or, you know, give information that could end up with people finding him. So she's obviously interested in that, and so is her friend. I really enjoyed this. I gave this, I think, a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I just really enjoyed the story as a whole. I mean, a lot of people say the plot isn't great in this book, but I don't think anyone, does anyone really go into a John Green book for the plot? I think everyone goes into a John Green book for the characters, and for me the characters were complete winners in this book, and I did enjoy the little side plot of the billionaire, even if it did kind of taper off by halfway through. It wasn't really a thing anymore. I just enjoyed Asa and her. I really enjoyed her the way her mental illness was portrayed in the book, because I don't suffer from anxiety myself, so just seeing this and the way her thought spirals worked, and how, you know, they really consumed her. I feel like it gave me a real fresh understanding of what it's like for people with severe anxiety like Asa, and it kind of makes me understand them a little bit more, and the same with OCD and stuff like that. So I did really enjoy that. I really liked that Asa's mum was just so lovely and supportive. She was a really great kind of mum character. I really loved her best friend Daisy, and I actually put up during the week a whole video all about Daisy, because previously all I've heard people say is how much they hate Daisy, and I really loved Daisy, but I won't get into that right now, because I literally have a whole video about why I love Daisy and why I relate to Daisy so much, and I don't think she deserves some of the criticism that she has gotten. So I will leave that linked in the cards for you to go and see if you haven't seen that already. So yeah, really enjoyed this, gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I finished was Still Me by Jojo Moyes. This is the 3rd book in the Me Before You trilogy, which follows a girl called Louisa Clark, and obviously a lot of people will know Me Before You because it was a very popular book, and it is a very popular film, and it gets some mixed reviews. I personally really liked the book. I really liked the novel. I really liked the characters, and I liked the story, and I loved the second one as well. I gave the second one a 4 out of 5 stars, and this one I gave a 5 out of 5 stars because I just loved it so much. Obviously I can't say too much about this one because it will spoil a lot of what happened in Me Before You, but in this one Louisa is in New York, and she's kind of gotten back into her old self, and she is exploring kind of new sides of herself and exploring a new city, and she is, I feel like the first one we get like this really amazing Louisa, though she is a little bit timid, and Will, the other character Me Before You, really brings out the kind of the passion for exploring and the passion for seeing new places and doing new things in her. He kind of stokes that fire a little bit, and we see in After You, which is the second book, she's a little bit, you know, she's not fully herself. She still has a lot of healing to do, and we see kind of how in the second book I feel like she really starts that road to proper recovery in the second book, where in this one I feel like it's almost like she's done a full circle, and in this one she's back, but she's stronger than ever. She is more resilient, she is more courageous, she's more ready for adventure, so we really see her take everything, like, she doesn't take anything for granted really. She really, like, she grasps everything with her hands as she can. I think as well as like making lemonade out of lemons or whatever, that kind of thing. You know what I mean. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this. It gave me just so many feelings. I just was happy the whole time I was reading this. I just felt so happy. I was just smiling. There were some bits in it that will make you laugh out loud. The other, when I wasn't laughing at different things that she was doing, I was just smiling. I just felt like Louisa is just one of those characters that feels like home. Like, she feels, you just feel so comfortable with her, and she's just someone you feel like you can really relate to, I think. And I just loved her, and I just loved coming back to her story, and I could genuinely read novels about Louisa for the rest of my life. Like if like Jojo Moyes just kept bringing out like novels about like each year of Louisa's life for now until forever, I'd be so happy with that, because I would read them. I just love Louisa so much. I just loved everything about this book. Yeah, I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was a NetGalley book, and it was called The Missing Child by Alison James. This is kind of a crime detective thriller novel, and it is about it's kind of the first in what's going to be a series, I think, about a detective called Rachel Prince, and she is she's with like Interpol or something like that, and she is basically brought in to investigate this missing child case. This little girl called Lola Jade disappeared from her house in the middle of the night, hasn't been seen since. No one knows what's going on. A lot of people think her dad might have taken her, because the mum and dad were in the midst of divorce proceedings, so they think the dad might have taken her, and Rachel is basically brought in to try and figure out what is going on, because the local police haven't gotten anywhere with it. It's kind of, everything is kind of coming up into a dead end, and she's brought in and her partner to try and see what she can do with it. I had a lot of issues with this book. I wrote a really lengthy critical review of it, which I won't lie, sometimes I love doing those reviews, especially when you have like notes. Like I was jotting down notes while I was reading this about everything I didn't like about it, so I had a lot of stuff to back me up with my critical review, and so I love writing those reviews when I have those notes. Yeah, but the book itself, the things I liked about it was the crime itself. I thought the crime is really good. I really like the fact that this is one of those books that emphasises the amount of desk work that police have to do. It's not all action. This shows that there's so much kind of investigation, there's so much research that has to be done behind a desk, or like just going around and like interviewing different people, or you know, taking like, you know, 5 steps back in order to go 1 step forward kind of thing. They have to go back to like the beginning of the investigation with the local police and figure out from there, kind of retrace steps kind of thing. And I really like that there was that emphasis on it, and that sometimes these things don't take 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes they take months on end and seasons on end for them to be able to crack the case. It's a kind of like slowly before it all descends into action. And I did really like that. The thing I didn't like about this book was actually the character herself of Rachel. I thought she was horrible. I really didn't like her. From the way I read it, other people might read it differently, but when I was reading it, it actually felt like she didn't like other women. Every single, other than women that were in her own profession, who were in like the police profession, every single other interaction she had with another woman, another female character, was negative. It was all really bad. She immediately started judging the child's mother. As soon as she like got her first interview with the child's mother, you could see that she was not criticising her looks, but kind of making notes of the looks in a way that, you know, it was a bit derogatory, like the fact that she had bronze skin, her lips were collagen pumped, she had freshly blow dried hair, her hair was dyed and styled and stuff like that. And yeah, I was like, does this have anything to do with the child that is missing? Does this have anything to do with the case? No, it doesn't. So why are we focusing on what the mother looks like? So I didn't really like that. She literally, quote, at one point in the novel, she says to her partner, that she had no female friends because she wasn't, quote, a girly girl growing up. And for some reason that means she doesn't have female friends, like as if you have to be a girly girl to have female friends, which is a complete load of bollocks if you ask me. Most of her relationships with the men in the book were flirty, which like is fine, but she does actually sleep with a married man in the book. A man she knew previously was married, who she'd known for weeks had been married, and she made advances towards him anyway and slept with him. So there was that, and she didn't show any guilt. Like, she didn't give a shit that he was married. Like, she didn't show any guilt afterwards either. She goes on a girls' night at one point, and she basically has nothing nice to say about any of the women there. They're all in like their 30s and 40s. She's like 39 years old, so the women she's out with are in like their late 30s, early 40s. So they're women who were like, you know, they've husbands, they've children, and like she was criticising them only talking about kind of like home and husbands and children and stuff like that, where really she was the odd one out there because she was the only one that was single. But for some reason it was like she's like this superiority complex with them, that she was so much more important because she didn't have any of those things. She wasn't shackled down with a husband and shackled down with children and stuff like that. And I just really hated her voice, basically. I just really disagree with a lot of stuff that she was saying. Really didn't like it at all. The only good thing, as I said in this, was the actual crime itself, but everything to do with the character I hated. So I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars, and I don't think I'll be picking up the next book unless the crime in it sounds really, really good. I feel it's the only reason I'd pick up this book again. And the last book I finished this week was Snow Falling by Jane Gloriana Villanueva, which is obviously Jane from Jane the Virgin, and this is her book that she wrote in Jane the Virgin. This is obviously ghostwritten. It doesn't actually say here who the ghostwriter is, but it says it on Goodreads, and the ghostwriter is actually I don't know whether I could say she's Latino or Hispanic, but I think like she would have the same background as Jane would have in Jane the Virgin, so technically it is own voices, which, you know, is always nice. So basically Jane and Michael's love story from Jane the Virgin retold in the 1900s, and I said it in my vlog, in my Biannual Bibliothon vlog, but I was saying, like, I didn't go into this, I didn't pick this up expecting this like literary vision. I didn't expect to go into it thinking that it was going to be an amazing book, and it wasn't. Like, it was fine, but it is basically a regurgitation of Jane the Virgin, and I would think it's highly historically inaccurate. Like, I would say a lot of the stuff like doesn't make sense in it, but I went into it for Jane the Virgin feels, and that's exactly what I got, so I did enjoy it. It's a short read, it's only 240 pages, it's very quick to get through, so I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars just because I did enjoy it for what it was, which was just a little bit of Jane the Virgin loveliness, and I'm glad I bought it, I'm glad I picked it up. I just like to have it on my shelves because I adore Jane the Virgin, and I adore Jane and Michael because I'm forever Team Michael, so yeah, I'm glad to have it. So that is everything I finished this week. Please let me know what you guys read, if you've read any of the books I have read, what you think of them, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!